On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, we review our top 5 bourbons of 2022 so far. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance. It's one of our most anticipated videos of every year. It's our top 5 bourbons of 2022. So far, I can't believe we are already halfway through the year. And if I'm being honest, this year started off so slow, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about by the time we got to June. But I'm telling you, this last month has been banger after banger, and I actually have some really good bourbons on this list. Now, 2022 is a weird year because a lot of these companies are running out of aged bourbon, and they're starting to blend in Canadian whiskeys, light whiskeys, those types of things. So for this list today, it's going to be just bourbons, but stick around because I've got 2 that could have easily made this list, but technically aren't bourbons. Now, as far as criteria go, it's really simple. I had to have found this on the shelves, and I had to have bought it close to MSRP. I always figure, a lot of channels review these crazy, hard to find allocated bourbons that nobody can get their hands on. And I just never think it's fair to rate a bourbon of the year if you guys can't get your hands on it. So I have to have found it on the shelf and had to have bought it at MSRP in order for it to be in our top 5 of the year. And for those of you newer to the Whiskey Tornado that may not understand our scoring system, you can go to whiskeytornado.com, click on 2022 whiskey scores. You'll see a list of every whiskey I've rated so far this year, as well as a breakdown of how I score these. But we take into account price, availability, value, taste, nose, finish, body. All those things go into our scoring system. All right, with all that being said, let's get into our top 5 bourbons of 2022 so far. I'm happy to report that the most expensive bourbon on this list is about $130. The cheapest one is around $60. And all of these were rated bunker worthy in my scoring system. All right, our number 5 bourbon and our top 5 bourbons of 2022 so far comes in at $130. This is the most expensive bourbon on the list. It also got a score of a 4.1 on my scoring system, so definitely a bunker worthy bottle. And also, I think the oldest bourbon on this list. And number 5 comes in Calumet 16. This is just a fantastic bottle, and it's a bottle that, as time goes on, companies are running out of older stocks of bourbon. This has a 16-year age statement on it. It's like a really good Henry McKenna 10 mixed with like one of those old 15-year, 16-year Knob Creek store picks, but at 106 proof. So it hits my proof point just right. This bottle's fantastic. I actually have an extra that I bunkered because it's so good. But this is definitely in the running for Bourbon of the Year. Number 5 on our list, Calumet 16. All right, number 4 on our list of top bourbons of 2022 is a bourbon I think a lot of people sleep on, and I understand why. This is a more expensive bourbon, and batches can vary quite a bit. This is a sourced bourbon, and sometimes one of the places they source from can be a little too dominant in their blends, so people are always a little hesitant to pull the trigger. All that being said, number 4 on our top 5 list of bourbons of 2022 is Barrel Bourbon Batch 31. If you guys see this batch, this is one I vouch for. It is so fantastic. I'm on my 2nd bottle of it, and I keep pouring it. It is so good. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I think the youngest bourbon in this is 6 years, so there is some other stuff blended in. It's a little higher age. It is 111.2 proof, but Batch 31 was a banger, definite hitter, and competes with anything I've had this year. That came in with a score of 4.1 on our scoring system, so also a bunker-worthy bottle. Barrel Batch 31 coming in as our 4th best bourbon of 2022 so far. All right, moving on to our third best bourbon of 2022 so far. This is a staple. This one makes it almost every year, and I'm so glad I still found one of these on the shelves so it could be in our running, but these are getting harder and harder to find. Coming in at number 3 is Elijah Craig batch A122. Now, I have not had batch B22 or B522, but I hear it's even better than this batch. I don't know. I've just had the A122, which I actually liked. Again, you're getting a 12-year age-stated, non-chill filtered bourbon for around $65. It's just impossible to beat. And that's one of the things. Not only is the flavor great, the nose great, but the value really bumps this bottle up in my scoring system because it's a 12-year age-stated, barrel-proof bourbon for $65. Just insane value. That score came in at a 4.35 on my scoring system. And Elijah Craig, always a staple. The Elijah Craig Barrel Proof's always a staple in our bourbon of the year running. All right, number 2 on our top 5 best bourbons of 2022, another bourbon from Heaven Hill Distillery. It is Larceny Barrel Proof B522. Now, guys, if you have not had this bottle, you need to get it. It's the same mash bill as Old Fitz. Everybody's chasing those bottles. In the past, I haven't been crazy about Larceny Barrel Proof. This bottle just hits me right. It drinks lower than the proof. It is super creamy. Really, really good flavors, strong flavors of caramel and peanut butter, but the peanut butter notes don't dominate like in years past. It is just an extremely well-rounded, fantastic bourbon. And it came in at a score of 4.4. So this is a bottle that is 123.8 proof. But again, Heaven Hill products, they're such good value. For this bottle, I think I paid $60. I think it was $59. Found it on the shelf. Absolutely fantastic bourbon. And because of the value and the taste, it comes in at number 2 on our top 5 best bourbons of 2022 so far. All right, we are to our top bourbon of 2022 so far. And this is one I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but oh my gosh, it got one of the highest scores that I've ever given a bourbon. It came in at a 4.75 on our scoring system, which is just absolutely crazy. And that is Hirsch Single Barrel 6-year. Coming in, I have the 138.8 proof. This is one of the best bottles I've had. It is so fantastic. For those of you that know what Willet Purple Tops are, they're, $500-$600 bottles. They go for way more than that on secondary that everyone's chasing. This is in essence Willet Purple Top Juice. This is actually 7 years, I think, not 6. But all at nearly hazmat. But the uniqueness of this just blows my mind. It's got those Willet footprints that I typically don't like, but it's got enough caramel and grape notes and really unique flavors that you just don't get in other bourbons. Completely stands out and blows my mind. I just absolutely love this bottle. It's one of the most unique things I've had. And it was $100. So just insane value for what it is. And I am glad I have an extra bottle bunkered. This is one you guys probably are not going to be able to find anymore. I'm not sure how many Hirsch will be releasing. If you do buy one, be cautious. I know I've heard some people that got some of these that did not like them, that apparently got bad single barrels. But if you see these in a bar, I would definitely get a pour of it. I would pay, $50 for a pour of this stuff, just to say that I've had it. It is a fantastic bottle, one that I would be chasing. And if you can find the 138.8 proof, I think there's one even higher than that. I would definitely grab it. It is just fantastic. So again, our top bourbon of 2022 so far is Hirsch 6-year single barrel. If you see them, grab them. All right, before we go, I have to mention 2 other whiskeys that are technically not bourbons that would have made our top 5 best bourbon list of 2022 had they been bourbons. But one is a blended whiskey and one is a wheat whiskey. And I can't end this video without telling you guys about these because you can still find both of these if you're looking hard enough. And my first honorable mention is a wheat whiskey whiskey. It's from Old Elk. Greg Metz, the old distiller of MGP, is doing a phenomenal job. This is one of my favorite whiskeys of 2022. If I'm reaching for anything on my bar right now, this Old Elk Double Wheat is it. This bottle is fantastic. It got a rating of 4.35 on our scale, so it's absolutely bunker worthy. I have some extras. It just hits my palate right. It is just a beautiful expression, and one that I think needs to be in the conversation of best whiskeys of 2022. But if I'm reaching for anything on my bar right now, this Old Elk Double Wheat whiskey is it. It is absolutely superb. All right, and last but certainly not least is Bardstown Discovery 7 Series. Now, these in the past have all been blended bourbons. This year, they used some Canadian whiskey, some 12-year Canadian whiskey, so it became a blended whiskey and not technically a bourbon anymore. But it is on par with the other Discovery series. I wasn't crazy about 5, but all the other Discovery series I absolutely loved. This stacks up to those. It is absolutely fantastic. It scored a 4.0 on our rating scale, so just barely bunker worthy, and that's because of the value. At $130, these are getting more expensive, and so the value is not quite there. It hurts the scoring a little bit on this, but still a fantastic bourbon, blended whiskey, and one that I'm reaching for all the time. All right, guys, so what did you think of our top 5 best bourbons of 2022 so far? Please leave comments in the description below. I would love to hear from you guys. I have obviously am only reviewing things that I've tasted, and in order for it to be in our Bourbon of the Year running, again, it has to be at MSRP, and I have to have found it on the shelf. So some of the things that you might think should have made this list may be off of the list for those reasons, but still, I think there's still some great bourbon to be found on the shelves. You do have to do some looking. I understand a lot of you, some of these are going to be hard to find, but it is possible. They do hit the shelves still. It's not like we're talking about Wellers and Pappies here, but I think this list of 5 bourbons is just fantastic. If you have any of these 5 on your bar, you're a lucky bourbon drinker. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to help support the channel a little bit more, you can join our Patreon group for as little as $2 a month. It really helps the channel grow and helps us improve our production. In the meantime, I hope this helped you guys decide what to buy and what to leave on the shelves. Hope you enjoyed our top 5 best bourbons of 2022 so far. Cheers, everybody.